Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. Thank you guys for starting your morning off with us. We got Mr. Flannel Sam back on the desk, and I couldn't be more ecstatic because the Lions continue to make moves. Brad Holmes continues to cook. We also got Mr. Matthew Broder down there, our Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers, credentialed beat writer and reporter.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you gentlemen?
We made it, Planet Fitness, the judgment-free zone. Let's go.
Talk about it, man.
Let's go.
Woo. Listen, I know we're going to get into it, but first, chat family, as always, you guys are a very, very, very important part of our Wake Up Woodward family. Smash that like button, and after you have, encourage others to do the same. We got a lot to talk about. Mr. Matthew Broder, you want to tell the people what we got on the docket today?
I would love to.
Let's go.
I would absolutely love to. We're going to run through, we're going to go around the city, talk about all the sporting events here in Detroit that happened yesterday, and we're going to talk about Brad Holmes cooking. He's cooking. He went and signed a veteran guard for the Lions offensive line. We're going to talk about that right at 8:15. At 8:30, we're going to break down this Donovan Peoples-Jones signing. What does that actually mean for Josh Reynolds? What is that going to mean for Brad Holmes moving forward? We'll see. We have a special guest. I think everyone in the chat is going to like what he has cooked up today. I hope you guys hang around at 9 a.m. for this special guest. We're going to talk Tigers at 9:15. Continue to get you ready for opening day. Continue to get ready for the party down in Detroit that we are hosting down on opening day. It's going to be a hell of a show. Let's do this.
All right, let's get around the city, man. First and foremost, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but we got to announce it right at the beginning. The Lions, they signed a right guard, Kevin Zeitler, to a one-year deal. And there's more to come, like I told you. But just your first and initial reactions. Sam, you've been kind of smiling all morning. How are you feeling about this, brother?
I don't want to give too much away, but it was a fantastic move that I didn't even expect Brad Holmes to pull off. So well done. I think this is going to do wonders for the offensive line this year. I don't perceive any step back from this offensive line. I'll just say that.
You guys have heard me talk about it. Keep our elite unit, which is that offensive line, not just elite, but how do you make it better? After you lose a Jonah Jackson and you're able to secure Graham Glasgow, now you're able to bring in Kevin, it's like, yo, Brad Holmes, as Stick said before the cameras got rolling, it's criminal, man. Lock this man up. He's robbing the NFC North Division title again. Matt Broder, what is your initial reaction?
I think it's a perfect move. This is savvy Brad Holmes at his most savviest. This is him making moves for a veteran guard. It doesn't bootstrap him into any other moves this offseason. He can still do whatever he wants. It's a fantastic move. I can't wait to break this down more at 8:15.
Yo, man, especially after we covered this kind of Mike Greenberg stuff yesterday, and that the Detroit Lions window is closed. It's like Brad Holmes, it's like, yo, AirPods in, I'm going to work, man. Probably working out at a Planet Fitness, man.
Hey, it's the window is decidedly not closed. I'll just say that.
I love Flannel,
Shout out Greeny.
Oh, man, the Pistons, they ran up against probably one of the NBA champion favorites, Boston Celtics last night. It wasn't pretty. 119-94. They were without a few players. K did not play. Ivy did play 29 minutes, put up 21, 5, and 5. Taj Gibson got some playing time as well, so he did a little bit more than kind of be the vet on the bench. 11 minutes, 3 points, 2 rebounds. Not much to really write home there.
That was supposed to be a joke I put in the show rundown.
Yeah.
Taj Gibson played 11 minutes, had 3 points and 2 rebounds. Let's go.
Let's go, man. And a couple of fist pumps as well.
Hey, but provided that excellent leadership, right, Broder?
Right.
That you love so much. But
I do. But
hey, the reality is nobody expects the Pistons without Cade Cunningham to go into Boston and beat them. I'm not necessarily mad about that. I'm just more, and I know we'll talk about it a lot more as the season unfolds, depending on how they finish, which right now isn't looking so good. But I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried about the fit between Cade and Ivy because it's not much of a coincidence that Ivy had one of his better games in the last 16 when Cade was out. But, Stick, I see you. I see you looking at me. Hey.
Oh, my God.
I'll tell you what, though. Jaden Ivey, previous to last night, besides for that Brooklyn game, has been playing absolutely terrible the last 15 games. His numbers in the month of March, with Cade in the lineup, by the way, for I believe all of the games, 16, 3, and 4 on 38% shooting and 21% from 3. And in the last 6 games of February, averaging a putrid 11, 1, and 4 on 31% shooting and 23% from 3. I'm not saying that I'm not doing this to slander Ivy. I'm just saying that it seems like an imperfect fit, at least at this moment. I think Kool-Aid, the most frustrating thing about this Pistons team, and I think when it comes to any sports team, one of the most frustrating aspects is when you can see that this team the whole is less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. You know what? Those numbers also come during the stretch where the Detroit Pistons actually, at one point in time, was the hottest team in the state of Michigan. Thank you to the priority patch, Red Wings. But, this is something that I'm hoping as you get into the offseason, you have to make a decision. Either Cade, like we're telling Jared Goff and J-Mo, you guys got to lock yourselves into out there in Santa Clara, and you guys got to find a way to get this chemistry and make this work. Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, they have to find a way to gain this chemistry, make this work. Watch the film, and this will be one of the first off seasons where Cade Cunningham is actually going into the off season, not to rehab, not to learn the NBA, but working on exactly what he knows he needs to be that guy.
Three-point shooting.
Take that step forward in the NBA. So,
you remember the lethal shooter on social media? He's the guy with the lethal. I think Jaden Ivey needs to get some work done with him. If he can figure out how to shoot the threes better, that will make everything so much better. I think the floor spacing while they're both out there together, he has to come back next season with the ability to shoot a high percentage from 3.
Three-point shooting would definitely help, but even more so than that, I want to see him at his strengths, at what we know can be his strengths. Let me say that. Getting to the basket, taking your man off ISO, getting into the pick and roll and getting some downhill action. He's shown that he can assist pretty well. He's shown he can throw the lobs. But for some reason, we see him trying to be more of one of those kind of stay on the outside type guys. I don't think that necessarily has to be the case with him. I want to see his three-point shot improve, but Ivy, there's not a lot of people who can keep up with your speed. There's not a lot of people who can keep up with you in transition. There's not a lot of people going to be able to stay in defense when you're going into the pick and roll. It's like I want to see him kind of play a lot more to those strengths.
Sure, and obviously I'm not blaming Ivy for all of this, or Cade for that matter. I think the coaching has been less than optimal this season. I never thought that Monty Williams would be.
We all agree on that.
I never thought that Monty Williams would be a downgrade from Dwayne Casey, but that's another story for another day. For the love of God, just get 18 wins, Pistons.
Yeah, hey, you know what? That road to 18.
It's not looking.
They have a shot. They have a shot.
Do.
Like I said, their defensive numbers are better, but they got to figure out what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball. Sure. They've given away a couple games. We will see if they get there. At the very least, I want them to at least tie or get one more win than the 16-66 win bad boy Pistons at the start of their rebuild. They have to beat that.
Yes. Yep.
They have to beat that. But you know what? The Detroit Tigers, their next spring training game is tonight, actually, 6:05 versus the Phillies. And I know you weren't on yesterday, but we talked about them with Mr. Matt Broder there, who will be covering them. Played D1 baseball at University of Michigan. It's always fun to hear him talk baseball and see his face light up. Like, he just goes into a certain mode. But the Detroit Tigers through spring training, man, how impressed have you been with their showing? And obviously it's tempered because it's not the regular season yet.
Well, I mean, I don't look too much into spring training to draw conclusions, but what I will say, and Broder, I think you will agree with me on this one, I think we got a guy in Jace Young. I love what I've seen out of him. He makes my Moneyball heart happy with that over 400 on-base percentage. I like this guy a lot, and of course, most of the pitchers have looked fine as well. And Broder, I don't know if you heard this. Opening day, Tarek Skubal is starting against a Chicago White Sox pitcher making his first start ever.
Ever?
Yes.
I actually didn't know that part. I knew Tarek Skubal was starting opening day, but he gets to go a big league debut?
I don't know if it's a big league debut, but I think it's a first start ever.
A first start ever. That's not an easy thing to do. Opening day, being the starting pitcher on opening day, it's a historic, a personal historic achievement. Something if you're a starting pitcher, your goal is to make it to the big leagues and be an opening day starter. So for this to be start one on the Chicago White Sox,
What's his? I'm looking up his name. It's Garrett Crochet. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of him.
Garrett Crochet.
Yep. He's appeared in 72 games over the last 4 seasons, but no starts.
Okay.
So that's a pressure cooker. It also speaks to the Chicago White Sox, how far they've fallen.
Right. What's going on? I'm no better, but it sounds like you're if you were a betting man, you're taking the Tigers. You're taking Tarek Skubal to walk away with a dub.
On paper, that's a mismatch.
Yes. We're going to talk more Tigers, and Sam, I'm right there with you. Jace Young, he's got potential to be special. We might see him in the big league sooner rather than later.
I hope so. He's got the right approach. Get on base, man. Jace Young gets on base. He's got on base in the minors, and he's getting on base in spring training.
Facts.
That stuff translates.
Facts, man.
Yep.
And again, the home opener, April 5th, it's just around the corner. I cannot wait. We're going to be all downtown. We're going to be broadcasting live, actually, from the biggest party. The biggest party. The party you want to be at for Detroit Tigers opening day. Music City Hall tent party. It's awesome. I got to go to the last couple of them. And it was probably one of the best things to do, man, for your Detroit Tigers home opener other than attend the game. Yep. So we want to see you guys down there. We're also going to have some giveaways as well. I can't wait for it. But when is that? When is the season opener again, Mr. Matthew?
April 5th. So it's 17 days from now. 17 days till the home opener. 9 days until the season opener.
Yep.
Yeah, so they play at the Chicago White Sox to open the season. Then they have a 3-game series with the Mets before they head back to Detroit for the party.
Let's go. I can't wait.
That'll be my first opening day.
Really?
Let's go.
Real talk. We'll be hosting a show that morning.
Stick's face, man.
Oh, man.
What? I've never been.
No, it's Broder. You're gonna have fun. I'll just say
it's
that.
electric, man.
It's one of the
It's
best
electric,
parties.
and we're gonna be down there with our brothers as well. Our Wake Up Woodward crew. Shout out to JB Smooth and KG as well. Our sound booth and TD booth. Well, I guess today is just a space, right?
Yeah.
They're elite anyway, though, man.
Yeah.
Detroit's #1 draft pick and Woodward Sports' MVP. And last but not least here on the rundown, the Red Wings. Their next game is tonight at 7 at LCA versus the Blue Jackets. Let's get a dub.
Red Wings, you better win this damn game. Because despite going 1-8 in their last 9 games, despite giving up an average of 4.8 goals per game, you're still only 1 point out of the last playoff spot. But these are 2 games that you absolutely have to have. And I don't want to hear about the patch, and I don't want to hear about Dylan Larkin, because guys like Daniel Sprong, JT Comfort, and Alex DeBrincat were brought here to, if you're missing one of your best players in your 1C and Dylan Larkin, they're supposed to right the ship. They're supposed to be the guys that continue to score and make it so that you don't go on these tailspins. Sprong has given you 2 points in the last 9. Comfer has given you 2 points in the last 9. And Alex DeBrincat has given you 0 goals and 1 assist total in the last 9. I'm not going to diss these guys too much because they were 3 of the biggest reasons you got to where you were at in the first place. But they've kind of let the team down in the last 9. But fortunately for the Red Wings, they still have a chance. They got to win tonight against Columbus. They got to win Thursday against the Islanders. And then they have a road game at Washington, who just passed you in the standings, which is following the game at Nashville. You got to win all 3 of those, or you can, I would say, almost kiss your playoff hopes goodbye, which would be a disastrous end to a season that once had so much promise. But, as I said before, these guys that I just mentioned, it's time for you guys to step up and play like, well, Alex DeBrincat like a star, and other guys just like reliable goal scorers and NHL vets. You're not supposed to tailspin like this just because Dylan Larkin is out. Make up for it, guys. Get a couple wins.
Man, yo, I feel the passion.
Yes.
I feel the passion because we were just sitting here on this show about a month ago talking about, they're coasting into the playoffs. They were on the cusp of firmly moving out of the wild card and into a solid playoff spot. And now we're sitting here hoping that they can cling to that second wild card spot. They did get some help, and hopefully it continues. But, thank you guys again for tuning in. I know this next segment, we got to talk about Brad Holmes cooking, man. We are live from Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road and Inkster. And you know what? I got to also shout out the GM, Kylie Brooke, the GM. This is a pretty good facility. It's a pretty awesome facility.
Sorry.
Yeah.
She's hooked up. This Planet Fitness is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
I am a Black Card member. This is one of the best I've seen. It's huge. It's clean. I got here at 6:45. Stick was already working for a while. They were cleaning already. All Planet Fitnesses are so clean. This is like none other. It's huge. come check it out. We're going to be doing things all day with all the shows here today, so come check it out. Planet Fitness in Redford. Shout out to the GM, Kylie.
Definitely, man. It's just going to be giveaways all day, so you guys want to stay tapped in. You guys want to. And it's only appropriate that our first read today is about
Let's go.
We're at Planet Fitness, the Planet Fitness in Redford. What a facility, as you guys were saying. And Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust, on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Let's drive. And today, guys, we drove all the way to Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road and Inkster for this show. It's a great facility. It's a clean facility. It's an awesome facility, man. Shout out to the GM, Kylie, as well. What up, though, people? Thank you for kicking off your day with the Wake Up Woodward family. I hope you guys stick around for the other shows as well. There's going to be giveaways all day today. But we got to talk about Mr. Brad Holmes cooking. Again, if you missed it, the Lions signed right guard Kevin Zeitler to a one-year contract extension. And I got to ask our Detroit Lions credentialed beat writer and reporter, is this guy a Brad Holmes guy, a Dan Campbell guy?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. I'm going to pass it right back over to you guys. But for all of you who don't know much about Kevin Zeitler, I'm not gonna share much, but I want to show you a quick 6-second video to prove is he a Dan Campbell guy? Is he a football guy? JB, if you could run that video, that would be fantastic. This is Kevin Zeitler. His wife is giving labor, and he's in the hospital room working on his pass protection in the offseason without a contract. This is Kevin Zeitler, the most recent Lions signing, while his wife is getting labor, working on his footwork, working on his pass pro. That's a football guy, right?
That's a football guy. And, you know, we talked about finding those intangibles that kind of show that these players, whether through the draft or through free agency, are those kind of Brad Holmes guys, those Dan Campbell guys. And Kevin is definitely one. And you're going to talk about losing Jonah Jackson and all of the mock drafts around trying to figure out which offensive linemen are they going to select in this draft to be able to kind of, you know what, let's try and get younger. But this move to me, even if they go into the draft and they still select, which I happen to believe they will, somebody for the offensive line, this move to me solidifies the thought process that they're trying to maximize their Super Bowl window with Mr. Pro Bowler right guard Kevin Zeitler. Man, you're still cheesing. What's up, Flannel?
No, it's a phenomenal signing, and I have to give one of our chat members, Big Dan Davis, the credit on this one because he says it even better than I could. The Lions' O-line just got better than it already was. I agree with that. Kevin Zeitler is an upgrade over Jonah Jackson. He's one of the top guards in pass protection. Hell yeah, I love this move. And is it a coincidence that even when his wife is in labor, he's practicing his pass blocking moves? Is it a coincidence that he's one of the best pass blocking guards in the NFL? I think not, because you're always working at your craft if you're going to be great at something, and Kevin Zeitler most certainly is. And to me, yeah, he's an upgrade over Jonah Jackson. I think going into this season, the Detroit Lions, we already know this, but I think they have the undisputed best offensive line in the NFL. I know going into last year there was some talk about Philly, but this year it is most certainly the Detroit Lions because, as Big Dan Davis said, and as I agree with, Kevin Zeitler's an upgrade over Jonah Jackson, particularly in pass blocking. And you know, like I always do, I have to read off some numbers that are very complimentary to Kevin Zeitler.
You know what? I saw the numbers. I was like, yes. I know Flannel got this
Absolutely.
covered.
Kevin Zeitler was second last year amongst all guards in pass blocking grade, according to PFF. When on 574 pass blocking snaps, he only allowed 19 pressures, 2 sacks, and 1 hit. And even more impressive than that, Kevin Zeitler had really one rough game last year. It was a home game against the Indianapolis Colts, a game that the Baltimore Ravens lost. It was week 3. He allowed his only 2 sacks of the season in that game. From week 4 on, he had 12 straight games with a PFF pass blocking grade of over 70 in every single game. That's remarkable consistency, and allowed 0 sacks. I know PFF isn't everything, but I think that it told a story of how valuable Kevin Zeitler was last year. And was it a coincidence that Lamar Jackson was the NFL MVP last year with Kevin Zeitler being one of his best pass blockers or his pass blocking guard? I think not. And the thing that I'm excited about when it comes to Zeitler, because he is a much better pass blocker than Jonah Jackson. What is one of the most important things about this Lions offense that really makes it go, that really makes it its peak level of explosiveness? Jared Goff having time to throw.
Facts.
He's going to be able to do his taxes, take a nap, maybe like call Kristen Harper, and
go
then
to Planet Fitness.
Go to Planet Fitness, and then be like, oh, there's Amon-Ra wide open. That's what Kevin Zeitler is gonna provide you. And as you said before, he is a veteran. He is going into year 13, although he did make his first Pro Bowl last year. You could still draft an offensive lineman anywhere you wanted in the draft and have him learn or sit, or even a guy like Colby Sorsdahl, who had some rough moments last year, but he was a rookie 5th-round draft pick. I love this signing. I think this is, like you said, Kool-Aid, they're maximizing their Super Bowl window by somehow, some way, making their offensive line even better than it was last year. And last year they had the best offensive line in the NFL. A+ signing Brad Holmes.
Man, because look, I gotta ask Broder this question as well. But it's like you said it right, man. We've been sitting up here saying, yo, is there a way to take this offensive line from elite to even better? And Brad Holmes found a way, man. The guy is absolutely cooking. Absolutely cooking. And he's been playing this thing to a T. Broder talked about it before we went live as well, that now the Lions are in a position to do exactly what Brad Holmes said they would do. They would fill their needs in free agency, and then they would go to the draft with the ability to be able to just draft the best players that they see fit, irregardless of need.
The marshmallow test.
Talk to me about this, man.
The marshmallow test. And by the way, Flannel, I value PFF the most, especially around offensive linemen, where they see some of the little things when they're in pass pro, when they're in run blocking schemes. They break that down. So I'm actually really glad that you had that stuff ready. But Kevin Zeitler, like you said, Kool-Aid, this doesn't affect how Brad Holmes can act and operate moving forward at all. He's as flexible as ever. He still has options everywhere. Now it's about adding depth. Now it's about adding pieces. You have someone fall to you in the draft. You can upgrade at a position. You can draft the best position available. It's an incredible signing. He's 34 years old, 6'4", 315 pounds, but 34 years old. That might be a question mark or a concern for somebody, but he really hasn't had injury issues his whole career. He had some nagging ones last year. That was his first season. Also his first season, he made the Pro Bowl, but he's been a model of consistency. I believe he started 181 out of 182 career games. So him coming in on a 1-year contract to fit right in, likely at right guard, then moving Graham Glasgow over to the left side, it not only gives you that starter from day one in this one-year contract, but it also allows you to still draft an offensive lineman at 29 or at 61 or at 73 and have him learn from Zeitler. Like you said, Colby Sorsdale, Yodi, they can learn from Zeitler. It's a veteran who's played with many different offensive linemen, so he's going to be able to fit in Detroit, fit in this culture with Hank Fraley and this offensive line, which, like you said, top 2 in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year they were number 1.
I think top 2 is selling them even short.
You
But
might be, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I just want to read something that Corey Berry said, which really like drives home another point that we've all kind of touched on briefly. Zeitler missed 5 starts in the last 9 seasons. Jonah missed 9 in the last 2 seasons.
Wow.
And that's always been the thing with Jonah Jackson, at least in the last couple of years. He hasn't been healthy. I mean, that doesn't even include the fact that he missed the NFC Championship game at San Francisco. And as I said before, Kevin Zeitler, at least right now, is a better offensive lineman. And think about this, guys. I got some more numbers that are really going to make
Flannel.
you happy when it comes to what this does to the offensive line. The Detroit Lions, with the signing of Kevin Zeitler, and this is based off of their performance last year, have 2 of the top 15 ranked PFF guards, the number 1 ranked center, Frank Ragnow obviously, 2 top 10 rated tackles, with Penei Sewell being number 1. That to me sounds like a Pro Bowl offense, like just a Pro Bowl team of offensive linemen. That's basically borderline what you got.
Like those 04 Pistons when just about all of them went to the All-Star game that year.
Yeah,
we're going to be seeing at least 4 in the Pro Bowl at the end of the 2024 season.
Just send the Lions' whole offensive line at this point in time, man. Just do that. And it's, like I say, hey, JB, you got that graphic because this segment is brought to you by Brad Holmes, Cooking with Brad Holmes, man. This guy. Look, what are we seeing out of the Detroit Lions right now? I've never seen this. It's a masterclass. And we all sat here and we saw the chat and other people say, none of y'all know what Brad Holmes is going to do. Nobody knows what he's going to do. He's continued to do exactly what he said he would. Exactly what he said he would. And it's a difference when you're going and filling your needs, but he's doing it with Pro Bowlers, man. He's doing it with those guys that we absolutely know. When you look at the DJ Reader signing and you look at the Kevin Zeitler signing, those are 2 massive pieces to make those units, the defensive line and the offensive line, take that much further of a step ahead. I don't want to get ahead of myself with the Detroit Lions.
Get ahead of yourself.
I just feel like the NFC North division, how you go pick with the players. You know, this thing is sealed, signed, and delivered. Brad Holmes continues to cook, man. Absolutely. Now, this is my question to you guys.
Yes.
All right. What else does Brad Holmes need to address in free agency? Because we start off with this list of like needs at the beginning of the offseason, and then you see cornerbacks, 2 of them. And then the rest of the league is saying those guys are dogs. Then you see defensive line, 2 of them. And the rest of the league, those guys are dogs. Now we go and we say, you know what? Let's just make our offensive line that much better. And that guy's a dog. What do they need to do now to continue to maximize for this Super Bowl window?
God, in free agency, I would be content if they just stood pat at this moment. Could they get another wide receiver? Sure. We're going to talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones a little bit later, a re-signing. Could they add more depth at the edge rusher position? They could, but if Marcus Davenport gives you the best or second best or third best version of himself and James Houston is healthy, even I think they'll be relatively fine at that. Could they maybe get a veteran safety? Like I've been looking at maybe Micah Hyde for cheap. Maybe. But I think you mentioned it earlier about the DJ Reader and the Kevin Zeitler signings. Those are 2 positions where the Detroit Lions needed a starter. And they not only got starters, they got a guy in Kevin Zeitler who's better than any guard they even have on their roster. No disrespect to Graham Glasgow. I love him. And then you got DJ Reader, a guy who is really going to open things up for everybody else and just be the guy that could really unlock a damn good defensive line in DJ Reader. So it pretty much looks like, at least in my estimation when I'm looking at this roster, that their starting lineup is pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. Right now it's just about depth pieces. Do you think Mike Greenberg knows that the Vikings, Packers, and Bears have added all these specialists, these skilled players around the outside, the little guys, if you will, while Brad Holmes has just answered with 2 of the most massive human beings ever? No, they've answered with a defensive tackle and Kevin Zeitler. They've addressed the trenches while these other teams in the NFC North are building with 1-year skilled players, with Keenan Allen, who's going to miss 5 or 6 games this season.
Call me a Brad bot. It feels like he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. I know that phrase gets overused, but Brad Holmes seems to be one step ahead of everybody. And like Ransom said in the chat, is inspiring. Said adding Zeitler gives the O-line the flexibility to move Graham Glasgow to center if needed, to give Ragnow a break if needed. We can't predict the future, but we're protecting the O-line. This allows them to. There's a really good interior offensive line class in this draft, so with a lot of versatility too. So you can draft someone that can be a guard and a center, and they can fill in at all three spots. It's building for the future while addressing today, while not getting locked up in a long-term contract. Guards got paid this offseason.
Yeah.
Zeitler got a one-year deal, and he was one of the best on the market.
Yeah,
that's a dub.
No, that was a fantastic move. And like you said, it frees you up in the draft to, if you don't want to use prime capital on a guard like 29, you could maybe take a flyer in a later round on a Zach Zinter and not have him be the every down starter every single game. Hey, you know how I feel about Zach Zinter, or maybe even Cooper Beebe, although I think he's a day one starter. But anyway, and then a guy like Colby Sorsdahl, as I said before. I know that in his limited playing time, he had a little bit of a rough go of it. But another year under a couple of veterans and Kevin Zeitler and Graham Glasgow not having the pressure of playing every down again.
Yeah.
That all goes in conjunction with if Graham Glasgow needs to go to center, you have guards in the hopper as well. Because I do think that's something that Brad Holmes will still address in the draft.
And my last point here, Kool-Aid, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, you're good.
What this does, too, there's now continuity in the backups, in the reserves. You now have Sorsdale and Yodi and Dan Skipper returning to this complicated offense that Colby struggled with at times because it is complicated. Hank Fraley is a fantastic coach, but this is not only a complicated scheme for the offensive line, but it's a complicated offense with Ben Johnson. So bringing that all back, bringing back the reserves that are familiar with this offense, that's an underrated. That makes this even more of an underrated signing.
One, brother, you never have to apologize about talking Lions on this show. We
got
hear from you, man. We know you're in the room. You spent the whole year with this squad. And you're one of the people I want to hear from, and especially Mr. Flannel Sam as well. Just to get to the chat real quick before we get to the next segment, because we got to talk about what the Lions do at wide receiver as well. Stick, the trenches belong to Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions. And I guess, based on the way he set things up, the draft is about to belong to Brad Holmes as well.
Yep.
Definitely. Let's see. What else do we got here? Big Dan Davis said, I believe they wait until the draft to fill other needs. An edge opposite of Hutch and a wide receiver to replace Reynolds. He thinks wide receiver round 1 at 29 is now in play. And you know what? We talked about this as well. When you go out there and you sign a DJ Reader, how much easier a job does it get? How much easier a transition does it get for whatever edge you decide to take in this draft now?
What do you guys think about this? Just a Fan says, this is the best O-line the Lions have ever had.
I love that.
I mean, it's on paper now. We haven't seen him out there, but it's constructed pretty masterfully.
Yeah, no, I think the only thing off the top of my head is maybe 91, but shoot, no, this is.
I love Lomas Brown. I do love me some Penei Sewell.
Yeah, no, Penei Sewell's. He just had one of the best offensive line seasons ever. By the numbers, at least at the tackle position. He's going to be the best lineman in Lions history, no doubt about it. No disrespect to Lomas.
You know what?
He's a great dude, great player, but
to be able to reach that top in Lions history, I know that they got a pretty good chances, man. And I have high expectations. The highest expectations
I
for this Detroit
see
Lions
what you're doing,
offensive
Kool-Aid.
line.
And if you want to get high yourself, visit Dispo Dispenser today for exclusive new deals and experience a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere, mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Save the date for 4/20 at Dispo Dispensary. Dispo is putting on epic events at all locations. Stay tuned for more details. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
How would you like to win $50,000? It's the Woodward Sports
Sounds
50K
great. Bracket
Buster Challenge, brought to you by Glorious Cannabis, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, and Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza. You can register for your chance to win at any Lady Jane's or Soroki's location. Just scan the QR code behind me or go to woodwardsportsbracket.com to register today, and you could be $50K richer. Go do that right now.
Welcome back, people. It is the Wake Up Woodward Show live at Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road and Inkster. And we're still on one because Mr. Brad Holmes continues to cook in this free agency. He told us what he'd do, and he's been doing it. Chat family, welcome back as always. Smash that like button, and if you already have, encourage somebody else to do that as well. All of our shows, our next two shows, Big D Energy and Armani and Edwards with Mass, they will be broadcasting live from here, and there's going to be giveaways throughout the day. So you guys want to stay tuned in, and we're going to be reading the winner of the Merch Monday giveaway as well. If you guys don't know, every Monday, every Wednesday, social team, they do some giveaways. You guys want to be active. Make sure if you're not already, go there and follow Woodward Sports on Twitter, Woodward Sports on Instagram, and give yourself an opportunity to win signed merchandise, stuff from the shop. It's awesome, man. It really is. It really is. But we got to get into the Detroit Lions. As much as he's cooking, they still have a few more things to get done this offseason. I want to talk about as well what the Donovan Peoples-Jones signing tells us about Josh Reynolds' future in Detroit. Broder, I got to throw it over to you first, man.
Yeah, so this weekend, we didn't cover it on Friday and just kind of glossed over it yesterday. The Lions re-signed wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones to a 1-year, $2 million contract. And that's important numbers. We're going to get to that. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's in his 5th year. He was drafted out of the University of Michigan in the 6th round and was acquired at the trade deadline from the Cleveland Browns last year. Donovan Peoples-Jones, although he didn't get much playing time for the Lions at the end of last season, this is a guy that fits the mold of this offense, fits the mold of what Ben Johnson wants to do in terms of being reliable, being versatile. He can play. He can be your punt returner if Khalif Raymond's unhealthy. What he comes in and can do is a lot similar to what we saw out of Josh Reynolds last year. It's that reliability, that first down getter. He only had 5 receptions last year. I know this is a small sample size, but 3 of his catches were for first down. So he was just starting to build up that trust with Jared Goff. I really like this re-signing, and what I really like the most of it is that it's a 1-year, $2 million contract. So that leaves open the speculation. Do they still bring Josh Reynolds back because they're not paying Donovan Peoples-Jones much money? Are they too similar of a wide receiver? Is Josh Reynolds asking for too much money? Do you give a wide receiver $8, $9, $10 million, or do you address it in the draft? I'm going to pass it back to you guys up on the desk. What do you think about this signing and what it can do for the Lions moving forward?
I think the key is flexibility. Whether they want to attack something in a draft or if they want to go out there and bring back a Josh Reynolds or Josh Reynolds and another wide receiver. And that was the question I was going to ask you. Yeah. What would be your strategy if you're Brad Holmes to try and go and bring in more wide receiver help for Jared Goff in that wide receiver room?
All right, so I'm constructing the wide receiver room right now. The good thing about all of this is you have the buffer of a first-team All-Pro wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown and a second-team All-Pro tight end in Sam Laporta. That's a pretty good 1-2 pass-catching duo before you even get to everybody else. And then, obviously, what role does Jamison Williams play this year? Is he more of a guy who is just a big play guy? Does he get more involved in the offense like he did in the Denver Broncos game? Does he get more consistent targets? Does he put up bigger numbers than he did last year? We shall see. That's going to play a big role in that as well. And I think people forget, too, about Khalif Raymond, who over the last 3 seasons has been about a $550 per year guy, which and also you assume that Jahmyr Gibbs will maybe get more involved in the pass-catching game as well. Because Donovan Peoples-Jones...
That's a great point, actually.
I guess if there's one thing that makes me a little bit nervous, although 1 year, $2 million is nothing when it comes to a contract, is that 2022, he put up 839 receiving yards.
Stud.
2021, he put up 597, and in 2020, he put up 304. Or was it 2023, 2022, 2021, respectively? But in the last season, his numbers kind of fell off a cliff. So if I'm Brad Holmes and if I'm even myself and trying to get excited about the Donovan Peoples-Jones signing, I will say I don't want what he was last year. But if you're the first best, the second best, or the third best version of yourself, you'll fit into this offense nicely. And if you're one of those versions of yourself, you don't necessarily need Josh Reynolds. I personally would like to have him back under a reasonable contract because you were talking, Broder, about first downs for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Last season, Josh Reynolds caught 40 passes, and 37 of them were either for first downs or touchdowns. And all 8 of his catches in the playoffs were for a first down or a touchdown, although there's a first down that he should have gotten that he didn't. And if you're one of those Lions fans that's too jaded by that, I can't even necessarily blame you. And also, there's the draft. There's a lot of good options in the first round, like maybe a Brian Thomas Jr. or an Adonai Mitchell. In the second round, you could pick up maybe an Xavier Legette or somebody like that. I think by the start of the season, we'll be looking at this wide receiver room as either fine to very, very good, especially when you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta as your top 2 guys.
Yeah, and I'm also excited about the prospects of Jahmyr Gibbs in that passing game as well. You know, he continued to improve last year as not just a runner but an offensive weapon, and what he can be this year out of that backfield. I think that is one of those equalizers against teams that are going to try and stack up against the Detroit Lions to stop their strengths. When you have a running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield, not just on checkdowns, but also get out into the field to play and catch the ball up the field, I think that takes your offense and gives it a completely different dimension than just the kind of what we saw from them in the beginning of last season. As the year went on, we saw a little bit more out of Jahmyr Gibbs in that capacity.
Yeah, and honestly, last season, I think as a pass catcher, he didn't give you as much through the totality of the season as maybe we were sold on, but he gave you more as a runner. I think he proved last year that he is the Detroit Lions' every down back of the future. And if he can provide more out of the passing game, even better. We're looking for Jahmyr Gibbs to maybe take that leap into all-pro consideration next year. I mean, we shall see. Hey, Kevin Zeitler is going to help as well. Just to bring everything full circle. But, yeah, I think when you really break it down, even just with signing Donovan Peoples-Jones, just a couple of years, just in 2022, he was an 840 receiving yards guy.
Just let him get comfortable.
And he was playing like a number 1. I know he had Amari Cooper that year, but he was playing as good as any wide receiver in the league when he got his opportunity. And yet his numbers dropped off last season. Most did with Dorian Thompson-Robinson as your starting quarterback. The Browns went through 4 different quarterbacks before he was traded. There's only so much you can do. I imagine if Joe Flacco was there, we'd at least see a little bit more out of Donovan Peoples-Jones. But again, 1-year deal, $2 million, this doesn't change anything. But what I want to ask you guys, are you ready? Are you prepared to see Jameson Williams as a true number 2 receiver? Or I'll say maybe in this offense, a number 2 option, not considering Sam Laporta. So Amon-Ra St. Brown's your number 1, J-Mo's your number 2, and then to be determined is it Donovan Peoples-Jones, Khalif Raymond, Antoine Green? Are you taking a wide receiver at 29?
You know what? I want to get into those things because I wanted to be able to pick your brain about what are the options in the draft from Mr. Matthew Broder, and I want to get into that in the next segment.
Hey, nice.
But talking about Jameson Williams, that's the guy who I am hoping. We've all sat here and talked about, hey, listen, you and Jared Goff go and get that chemistry. And if we're to believe what Dan Campbell has been saying about Jameson Williams, then, yeah, I am ready for him to, if not being the second wide receiver, to at least being a very productive third wide receiver. What's your take on it, brother?
Well, I mean, you got to have it at some point. And I understand that the Lions' offense was good when he played well, good when he was out. It was pretty much a 27-point-a-game offense no matter what Jameson Williams was doing. So they were fine with him playing the role that he did. But next season, especially if you don't re-sign Josh Reynolds, that shows me that they're confident that Jameson Williams can be the number 2 guy. And I think that if he does that, we can all break bread around Jameson Williams. Because as of right now, and I've said it before, and I'm not going to use that dirty
kumbaya.
I'm not going to use that dirty word that I know you hate, Broder. His numbers just haven't been ideal. He had a lot of good moments last year, but I'd like to see him more consistent, I'd like to see games where he was more involved in the short and intermediate routes, but he also made a big play.
I couldn't agree with you more, Flannel. I'm not disagreeing with a single thing there.
Fair
He's
enough.
not a bust, but everything you just said, spot on.
No,
he needs to get better this year.
Yes, and he's number 12 overall pick, and he's got the talent. So I'm excited to see what he does with a full season, no injury, no suspension, hopefully, knock on wood.
Yeah.
With the injury.
And better chemistry. That's what I'm hoping he do, is develop that chemistry and that timing with Jared Goff. And I want to talk about this more in the second segment. I'm excited to see what you guys are thinking about, especially Broder, about this draft, the wide receivers in this draft. And you know what, chat family, I want you guys as well at what you think about Jamison Williams. Are you ready for him to be that wide receiver number 2, wide receiver number 3? What are you expecting out of him going into this next season as well? But first, I got to tell you guys about Guardian Alarm. So if you're defending Mr. Jamison Williams and what you believe he will be next year, you can also go to Guardian Alarm because they provide excellent defense. They provide customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. It's 24/7 professional monitoring. You can call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. It's technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that's 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Big Boy Seafood Fest is sailing in with a fresh catch of favorites. Dive into fish and chips, our new palm-crusted cod, perfectly fried clam shrimp platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. Try our new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to our popcorn shrimp, our all-new fried pickles, shrimp alfredo, or shrimp stir-fry. Experience all the sea has to offer every Friday night with our all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Every day is a fish fry, only at Big Boy.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Muted. What's better than crispy chicken and pizza while watching your favorite team play? Let me tell you about Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza. Their food is amazing, and their locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit. They're a perfect takeout featuring hand-breaded fried chicken, New York pizza, fresh salads, sides, and more. Check out their full menu and find the closest Soroki's near you at Sorokis.com. That's SAROKIS.com. Soroki's in Woodward Sports. That's crispy.
That's crispy. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We're live at Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road and Inkster. I'm pretty excited, man, to be here. Like I said, I'm still kind of on one right now. Brad Holmes, he continues to just strike. Shout out to Kylie Brooks as well. Kylie Brooks, the general manager here at this Planet Fitness. It's a beautiful facility, man.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like just stepping right off the desk when the show ends and going to get a workout in.
Absolutely. Yep.
Definitely. And, you know, we just talked about Soroki's as well. Shout out to the Canton, Michigan Soroki's staff yesterday. I've been trying to get around since, you know, we were at Feldman yesterday. We were at Planet Fitness today. I was like, you know what? I went to Shake Shack over the weekend, trying to make sure we visit all of our sponsors and say what up, though, to them. And it was pretty cool, man. They took care of your boy, went in there. They were like, you know what? We can't just have you come in and buy food. We're going to give you some free food as well. And, guys, I need the fire emojis in the chat right now because the chicken is fire, dog. It's so fire,
Oh, look
man.
at that.
It's so fire. There were really, really cool people out there as well. The Canton Soroki staff, they were awesome people. But I just wanted to make sure that I shouted them out as well. They are watching today. So thank you guys for your support. Thank you for tuning in. And I know we're going to be doing a little bit more with Soroki's in the future as well. Griffin told us they got some stuff for the crew. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Shout out.
But we got to get back into this wide receiver, for the Detroit Lions. I know that there are a lot of options in this upcoming draft. There's still some options out there in free agency as well. But I know that, Broder, you have a couple players, man, that really, really intrigue you as it relates to what the Detroit Lions can do in the draft at wide receiver.
They do, and I'd love your guys' opinions on them. There are two guys that I would love, and they're actually – So this wide receiver draft, this NFL draft is deep at the wide receiver position. There are some super studs at the top with Marvin Harrison Jr., Romeo Dunze, Malik Neighbors. But as the first round goes on, and especially as you get into the second, third, fourth round, there are studs, whether it's Malachi Corley, whether it's Brendan Rice out of USC. I see some people putting his name in there. But two of my favorites, Adonai Mitchell out of Texas and Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. Adonai is more of the perfect fit in terms of what the Lions are lacking, a big body receiver who can play the outside. He is a great route runner. He's been productive at two different big schools, LSU and Texas. I really love Adonai Mitchell. And I actually, before we talk about Ladd McConkey, I want to show you this video of Adonai Mitchell at the Combine. They do a simulcast of him running running with A.J. Brown, and I believe it's Julio Jones, JB. Run that whenever you get a chance. You see, this is just the 40.
Julio Jones in 2011.
Tease me.
A.J. Brown in 2019. And Adonai Mitchell.
He's rolling, man.
Leaves
that's not even close.
Tease me, brother.
Adonai Mitchell, he's one of those guys.
Big time speed.
The Combine can only do so much
there
for
is
the
the
NFL
for the moment.
For fans
Julio
and for some
Jones
media
in
who
2011.
wasn't there, he stood out to me and made me look into him more. And the more I saw his film at Texas, the more I liked him. What do you guys think of Adonai Mitchell? Or do you have another wide receiver that, should the Lions go that direction at 29, which they could go any direction, if there was a wide receiver, who would you be looking at?
Well, my favorite is Xavier Legette. I like Adonai Mitchell as well. Xavier Legette's a guy who, as I've said before, I'm worried that with how he's tested and when people really look into him more, that he's not going to be available when the Lions pick at 61. So maybe if Brad Holmes trades back or to get him at 29, I would certainly love that. He was one of the most productive wide receivers last year. He did it in a South Carolina offense in which he was really the only guy. So all of the attention was given to him. He's got the DK Metcalf kind of prototype with the size, the speed. The only worry about him really is you could say he's a one-year wonder, and you can say that he's not the most precise route runner. He kind of lets his size just do all of the dominating. But man, when he gets the ball in his hands too, he just is yak yards, his speed, running away from DBs. I love that as well. But Adonai Mitchell at 29, I wouldn't hate it at all. He's that, like you said, he fits what the Lions need more than, like, say, a Ladd McConkey, for example, who I know you love. That big body wide receiver, the speed, the deep threat. I think him in the red zone would be another big one where you could throw some more fade routes, which they didn't really do a whole lot last season, the Detroit Lions. So, yeah, Adonai Mitchell is one of my favorites, but my absolute favorite, my dream, would be Xavier Legette in the second round. Hell, even at 29, I wouldn't be mad, especially seeing as what Brad Holmes has done in free agency already. Take a flyer on Xavier Legette at 29. I'll be happy with that.
And if he's there, Flannel at 61, it's pick, right?
Oh, pick. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Well, I want to hear what you think of Ladd McConkey, too. I'm really interested because, to me, he's, from a physical standpoint, he's not much different. He's more Amon-Ra St. Brown type. But what he can do, just what he brings to the table, the mismatch nightmares that he could bring, you put him out there on this field with Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta and J-Mo and Gibbs coming out of the backfield. This man has produced at Georgia also, Flannel.
So Ladd McConkey on the surface, and I like him a lot as a receiver, he's not as much of a fit with this Lions offense, at least on paper, because you'd think a slot guy, they already have that in Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you're a team that doesn't have a dominant slot receiver, you might pick Ladd McConkey to maybe create the Amon-Ra St. Brown archetype type player. However, in this Ben Johnson-led offense, I don't think you can have too many slot receivers. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is more than capable of lining up outside when need be, and so is Ladd McConkey. So I wouldn't hate it as well, although I don't think it's as much of a seamless fit on this particular offense, given that you already have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I also think Sam Laporta is another one who those short to intermediate type routes, he's going to be taking up a lot of those as well. I think Ladd McConkey, if he's for like a selfish standpoint, would fit in better on a team that that doesn't have that dominant slot receiver, so he can really get all those targets. Maybe, as I said, be like the Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Cooper Kupp, maybe fill that archetype for a team that needs him.
If I remember correctly, and I'm going to push back just a little bit, and I know you were speaking for the people. I asked that question to you, Flannel, but I heard a lot last year. Jared Goff can't throw the deep ball. All the ducks. He can only throw it 20 yards or less.
He disproved that.
Yeah, yes. Yes, but I'm going to play into that narrative a little bit and say, why not add the best route runner in the draft and Ladd McConkey, the best hands in the draft, as just another option in all these intermediate routes? Even though he's an underrated receiver who can play the outside, he's got underrated speed and underrated yards after the catch ability. But why not just add another weapon there in the middle of the field?
I don't hate that, man, because Jared Goff, he obviously can throw the deep ball. He's more than capable. You saw him make a couple of connections with Jamison Williams, even Amon-Ra, and then the year before with DJ Chark. He's more than capable. But we would all agree Jared Goff is most deadly on the short and intermediate routes. What makes Amon-Ra St. Brown so special for this team is that he perfectly fits what Jared Goff does best. And at least the ceiling for Ladd McConkey, or the archetype for Ladd McConkey, would be another one of those guys that, like even a Sam Laporta, that also fits what Jared Goff does best. I'll tell you what, the middle of the field with all three of those guys, man, it would be as deadly as any I can think of in the National Football League right now. I still don't think it's I'd still rather have Adonai Mitchell, but you're making some great points, even if it's with a little bit of the Jared Goff can't throw the deep ball snark. I like it. You played into it perfectly.
Let's go.
You know, and I like it too. When you talk about what Jared Goff can do, when you looked at what Khalif Raymond and the Josh Reynolds roles were last year, it's like adding another player like that. I'm not against it, especially if it helps to free up the field for guys like J-Mo and Sam Laporta a little bit further down the field. But, brother, you talked about a player as well. What about Antoine Green?
Antoine Green, he's the one his name's being left out of this because it was so quiet last year. He's still a guy that they believe in, though. He is that deep threat type of receiver, that big body who we saw in the Panthers game in the preseason. He was able to break free and run and catch a touchdown pass, 75-yard run after the catch. He's one who, coming out of college, the best attribute of him was his ability to go up and get the 50-50 balls. We just didn't see any of it last year, so it's a little hard to predict where they see him. I do know they believe in him, and they're going to give him opportunity to earn playing time, earn snaps. We'll see what he comes out of this offseason looking like. We'll also see, and I'll pass it right back over to you guys, but I expect before the draft we're going to see some of these contract extensions play out, whether it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, maybe Penei Sewell. And I say that because that could affect what they do at 29. If we get an Amon-Ra St. Brown 3-year contract extension for $25 or $30 million, that's leading me to believe that they might go wide receiver in the first round to try to get that 5-year contract on a wide receiver to taper it with their big money wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. It may be a similar reason why they go offensive linemen, depending on the length of Penei Sewell's contract, to just keep overlapping these contracts so they're not only solidifying this year, but also building for the future financially.
No, and I don't hate that at all. And I know that we presume that it's a priority for, and we've heard rumors that it's a priority for the Amon-Ra St. Brown extension to get done, and he more than deserves that. And it would kind of be perfect. The whole, as I talked about yesterday on Big D Energy with Neil Rule, one of the strengths of Brad Holmes with all of the drafting, which is why they're firmly in their Super Bowl window, is that when you have to pay these guys, when you have to make decisions about certain guys, I used Derek Barnes as an example. After this season, you're able to replenish them with good players on rookie contracts like Brian Branch or Jahmyr Gibbs or Sam Laporta last year. So I don't hate that thought process at all, Broder.
Man, you know what?
I'm hungry.
Brad Holmes, and I'm looking at the chat right now. I've been reading everything. The chat is on one right now. They're ecstatic and they're confident. Around the first set, Lions are the real deal. The organization top to bottom right now is fire. I, for one, believe. You know what? Hey, let's put some fire emojis in the chat for one, Mr. Brad Holmes, who is absolutely cooking. And for whatever reason, the chat, they love the camera on you right now, Mr. Flannel Sam.
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
I was actually seeing the same thing. I'm watching on my computer on a delay, but Flannel, your face looks nice and focused, clear.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to give the people what they want. You know what? Let Flannel kind of talk about these wide receivers, educate me a little bit, and give the people what they want.
No, I'm sure it's my face that people like so much. But that's all right. That is all right.
You know what? Look, guys, we are live at Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road in Inkster, Michigan. It's a great facility, great people out here. Shout out to the general manager as well, Kylie Brook. We got to talk about – actually, we have to talk to a special guest, one of our chat family. I can't wait till this next segment as well.
Yeah, you guys, this is one you guys are going to love in the chat. We got a special surprise for you. We'll give you the details around what we're planning. But there's a sous chef here helping Brad Holmes cook up this free agency, this offseason. We're calling him in from all the way across the world. We'll let you know what we're going to do when we come back from this break.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
But first, I got to tell you about Big Boy. Speaking of cooking, Seafood Fest is back at Big Boy. Catch it while you can. Dive into fish and chips, their new Parmesan crusted cod, perfectly fried clam strip platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. A Big Boy must try the new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to their popcorn shrimp, shrimp Alfredo, or shrimp stir fry. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy. And don't forget, every Friday night, the all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. See you at Big Boy.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Football season is officially over and spring training is right around the corner. However, Jack Labrador is 24/7, 365 days a year. Learn how to play now on your phone at jacklabrador.gg. 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. And remember that once you go Jack, you never go back. Go to jacklabrador.gg.
What up, though, people? Welcome back. It's the Wake Up Woodward crew on the Woodward Sports Network, live from Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road in Inkster. Chat family, you guys have been awesome today. Go on ahead and hit that like button if you already have. Encourage somebody else to do the same. But we got to get to our special guest here, Chef Talks Lions. He's going to join the show.
You're just going to drop it on him. Am I muted?
Let's do that.
You're just going to drop. This is our special guest, Kool-Aid. Introduce him, Chef Talks Lions. Chef Talks Lions. You guys recognize the name in the chat. We're going to bring him on to help us dissect what Brad Holmes is cooking. He's got a meal cooking up for himself. And let me tell you this, guys. Chef Talks Lions, he's in Melbourne, Australia, on the other side of the world. It's 12 a.m. It's the morning, middle of the night, I should say, for Chef. This is going to be a fun segment. Everyone, throw the fire emojis, throw the chef emojis in the chat for Chef Talks Lions.
Yeah, it's your chat family. Let's rock.
Chef, you in the kitchen.
What up, though? Can y'all hear me? I can hear y'all. Can you hear me?
We see you.
You can't hear me?
Chat fam, can you hear Chef?
Can you hear me?
Hey.
Yes.
Chef, I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
All right, good. What up, though, man?
What up, though?
Listen, Kool-Aid, I got a special introduction that I need you to help me with. It's only right. I'm going to start off the first part of it, and you take over the second part of it. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Got to grab my microphone. Finally, the chef has come back to Woodward.
If you smell what the chef is cooking, let's go.
That's right, baby. That's right. Nailed it.
Chef, that's awesome.
Nailed it.
What do you have cooking up? It's 12 a.m. It's the middle of the night.
Hey, man.
You got the munchies. What are you cooking up in that kitchen of yours?
Man, everything, man. Just Lions talk. You already know what it is. You already know what it's about. That's all I do. I talk Lions. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that have been going on with these free agency signings.
Please.
Man, Brad Holmes is cooking just like me.
He is. He is. Was there something about the DJ Reader signing? I think you heard there was even some haters out there not fully on board with this. Is that where you want to start?
Right there. I mean, if I go back, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I started on TikTok, and I just looked at some of my takes. They were very critical of the Lions, and not because I'm an SOL fan. They were critical of the Lions because the Lions were bad. All right. Jared Goff came in the first year. He wasn't great. Jared Goff has made leaps and bounds, and he is my quarterback, and I have no problems saying that. There were a lot of things that were going on. We had dead cap money. We had the Jamie Collins situation. We had the Trey Flowers situation. So now our expectations should be higher for what's happening, and it's not negative. That's what we shouldn't be so negative, man. We look at all of these signings, just because it's not the big popular name doesn't mean that it's not a great signing. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't fit for what this team needs. This team needs a certain type of player. There's a certain type of culture being built. Do y'all guys know that DJ Reader was a Lions fan last season during the playoff run? He had a series of tweets that were very complimentary to the Lions, but he wasn't really thinking like this could be a reality. But his agent started talking to him about it, and he understood it was a reality. So now we were all worried about DJ Reader coming in and not being allowed to leave Detroit before he signed a contract. But it turns out that he didn't even want to leave Detroit without signing a contract. That's number one. Now, the hate comes where we nitpick the signing. Well, he doesn't have sack numbers. Well, that's not his job. DJ Reader is not here to rush the passer, but he is here to stop the run and also to make the pass rush easier for people like Aiden Hutchinson. There are no more double teams and triple teams from Aiden Hutchinson getting hit by the tackle, then getting hit by a pulling guard, then getting hit by a running back just shipping him going out in the pass protection. We're not getting those things anymore with DJ Reader there. Why is that? DJ Reader is a very, very intelligent football player. DJ Reader can read blocks. Let me say that again. DJ Reader can read blocks. He understands blocking schemes. So he can look at a guard that's head up on him, and whatever step the guard takes, he understands what play is happening and what they're trying to do to him. He can react to blocks, and he can defeat blocks. If you want to know about this, you can go check out All 22. That guy has great breakdowns of these players that the Detroit Lions are signing. So those are the types of things that we need in Detroit. We need coaches on the field, and that's what Brad Holmes is signing. We talk about the Broderick Martin signing or the Broderick Martin pick. People are out on that. We don't know what he is yet, but a guy like DJ Reader has said he wants to get his hands on him and mold him and shape him, and he wants to teach him. And these are the types of things that we're getting in. We're getting leadership, we're getting culture fits, and we're getting damn good players. DJ Reader is at the top of the game as far as DTs and run stopping and DT intelligence.
Chef, I love that. I love what you're cooking up there and how you explain the benefit of DJ Reader, how he helps impact other players on the field, also Broderick Martin. We just got done with a conversation about wide receivers, and you were talking about DJ Reader getting his hands on Broderick Martin, but we need, whether it's a starter or a depth piece, another receiver to get their hands on some balls. There's been rumors. I know it was coming out and then it.
Pause.
Shoot. Well, welcome to the show, Chef. Michael Thomas Jr. You're not a fan, are you? Michael Thomas Jr., that's a wide receiver who's been rumored for $10 million contract, possibly. How are you feeling about Michael Thomas?
I'm not a Michael Thomas fan. Maybe 4 years ago, I was a Michael Thomas fan. But after he got that big contract, he caught that Ben Simmons disease where he don't do nothing but sit on the bench and wear Balenciaga and, and Fendi and Gucci and Prada. He's not here to play football. I mean, he's missed 75% of the last 3 seasons. How do you do that? And how would you be willing to pay a man who has missed 75% of the last 3 seasons $10 million?
That's a good call. And you know what, Chef? What up, though, man? It's awesome that
Bag
we
of
have
better
have
men.
you on the show. You always support. You're always in the chat. You're always, the content is always fire. And what you have to say, man, I'm always tapped in as well. Thank you for supporting us, and we'll continue to support you. We're going to support more of our chat family as well. But
No
I got
problem.
a question
No
for
problem.
you, man. Stephen
What's that?
Gilmore, man. Chef, do your ingredients involve a veteran quarterback signed via free agency, or are you picking a fresh cornerback in the draft?
Listen, Stephon Gilmore is another one of those coaches on the field. I mean, if you watch his breakdown where he did with Brian Baldinger when he was talking about his Defensive Player of the Year season, I mean, that man's film preparation is on another level. He is a person that doesn't even need a coach. He can tell you exactly what he did, why he did it, where he did it, the reason why it was right, why it was wrong. Route concepts. He understands all the route concepts. He understands from the refinement of the receiver what routes that he might be able to run. He also knows the tendencies of the team. Like he talked about the Dallas Cowboys. He said if the Dallas Cowboys start running routes in the beginning of the game, they're going to repeat those same routes. So he's able to sit on it. That's how he got that pick on Amari Cooper. And it's funny because then he goes and he plays for the Cowboys. But, I mean, Stephon Gilmore is someone that I would love in free agency. You never can have too many corners. And, I mean, if you're talking about dog Carlton Davis, you're talking about dog Amik Robertson, and you're talking about dog Stephon Gilmore. I mean, that's 3 dogs right there. So if you decide to go with a later round rookie, a 3rd or 4th round rookie, what better teachers does he have to come into a secondary that has all those pieces in it? I would love to get Stephon Gilmore in here into the building so that now we're set not only for this year coming and maybe even next year, but also for the future.
Hey, Chef, how are you feeling about the Kevin Zeitler signing? Is this offensive line actually going to be better this season than it was last year?
Yes, Sam, I do believe it is going to be better because Kevin Zeitler, as we talked about, the pass pro is great. Any lineman that is on the Baltimore Ravens, you know he can run block. You know he can run block because that's what they do. Next year, they're going to have Derrick Henry, that's not fair, but, they've lost some other pieces. But, coming from Baltimore, I'm going to endorse any lineman that came from there. So, yes, Kevin Zeitler, he's going to help with Jared Goff having time to throw the football. Jared Goff's not going to have to be backpedaling and, having those little pinky fumbles and things like that he had. That's my one negative shot at Jared Goff that I'll take. But, he's going to be able to have time. He's going to be able to hit his wide open wide receivers. J-Mo, man, listen. We're not going to come to blows this time. I would be nice. But J-Mo, as Dan Campbell has said, he's going to be competing to be the number 2 wide receiver. I saw someone in the chat say that he was currently in Florida training with Teddy Bridgewater. He needs to get to California and lock himself in Jared Goff's house. Him and the electrician Jahmyr Gibbs need to do the same thing, so that they can all be on the same page. The thing with Jahmyr Gibbs last year wasn't that he had issues with catching the football. It was just an issue with timing between him and Jared Goff. But once they get those things ironed out, I mean, if we talk about the draft, we're talking about Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette, I just want him to be drafted so that he can speak to the Detroit media after every game. Because, he's like, yeah, man, they came and hollered at me and they told me that they wanted to see me come on out there and that, I just want to see where I land. I want to see that out of my receiver every Sunday talking to the Detroit media. So, I mean, imagine having a 4-wide set of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs in the slot, J-Mo and Xavier Legette. Who's stopping that? Who is stopping that? And Kevin Zeitler will give all of those guys opportunities to get open, to get into their routes, and Jared Goff will be able to hit somebody.
Chef, I couldn't agree with you more. I love how you broke that down.
Yeah.
Man, we're right up on a break, but I want to thank you so much for joining us all the way from Australia, from Melbourne, Australia, to bring it down. You got any final words for
anytime, baby.
Your co-chat members, your friends here in the chat? What do you have to say?
Man, come on, holla at me. Come on to the kitchen. You already know what it is. Chef Talks Lions. My lawyer told me I should change the name from Chef Talks NFL to Chef Talk Lions. So I changed it, and it is what it is. Come visit me. Come subscribe. Come spend some time with me.
Some awesome Chef.
segment.
Thank you so much for joining. Chat, if you could throw some emojis, hit the like button for Chef, we would really appreciate it. What we wanted to do with this, before I hand it over to you, Kool-Aid, is continue to highlight some of our favorite viewers, our audience, our chat members, those who are invested in seeing us succeed, supporting Woodward Sports, like Chef is. He's a member, so he's subscribed to Woodward Sports. And if you guys want to come on in the future, reach out to Kool-Aid, Flannel, myself. We're going to want you to be a member. We're going to want you to make sure that you're not just spewing negativity and trolling in the chat. But Chef has been a consistent member, not just agreeing with everybody, but the way he disagrees, the way he debates. Those are the type of people we want to support. If we can help him out for a segment, let's do it. Kool-Aid, I'm going to send it over to you.
And it's what we said. It just continues to reiterate, again, we want to be able to feature our chat family. We want to be able to engage with you all. Thank you guys for supporting us as well. Go on ahead and hit that like button for your boy Chef's Talk, man. I'm glad he was able to join the show. But I got some good news and some bad news. I'll give you the bad news first, man. Insurance rates are going up in the state of Michigan. That's a surprise, right? But I got some good news, man. Swiss Insurance is here to help you right now. It's more critical than ever to have your insurance reviewed by them. They'll make sure that your current insurance provider is not slipping at any extra fees or deductibles at all. All you got to do is call Mark at Swiss Insurance today or visit them at swissins.com. And Sports sent you.
Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? It's a new era in sports wearables. We got new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Hoodies, tees, and hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com and click shop.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. Thank you for kicking off your morning with the crew, man. We got the full crew here as well, man. We got the starting five: Mr. Flannel, Sam Reynolds. We got Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG, over here on Sounds. We got Woodward Sports' MVP, Mr. JB Smooth. Our credentialed Detroit Tigers and Detroit Lions beat writer and reporter, Mr. Matthew Broder. And it's your boy, Brandon Dan K, Detroit Kool-Aid, bringing you Pistons coverage for the network. Now, look, we asked Mr. Chef's Talk about the cornerback room, right? We asked about Stephon Gilmore. I want to be able to get you guys, pick you guys' brains about what you think the Detroit Lions should do about addressing the defensive secondary. Now, they have brought in already a couple nice pieces, and Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis. But is that enough for you?
Maybe the draft. I think when it comes to free agency, I'm cool if they stand pat at this point. Obviously, a Stephon Gilmore still being out there, that's intriguing. And as Chef said, I would be more than happy if they got him. But at this point, I'm okay. And one of the reasons why is because with Carlton Davis, I will admit, last season, throughout the totality, his numbers did not look super pretty. In 12 games played, he gave up about 776 receiving yards when targeted. He gave up a passer rating when targeted of over 100. But like with a couple other free agents, i.e. Marcus Davenport, Carlton Davis, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't want the version of him last year, but if you gave him the first, the second, or the third best version of him, he would be fantastic for this team. And even last year, he was great in man coverage, he was great against the Lions, and he was great in the playoffs, and he was great as the season winded down. So obviously, Carlton Davis, I like the signing. Cam Sutton, me and Broder have gone to battle with him over last season, but I will be fair that wasn't a role that's easy to thrive in, being the number one corner when you're not really cut out for it, when the teams are doing a bunch of safety blitzes. That's tough, and going up against guys like Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, that's obviously tough. I think the thing that makes me okay with the cornerback room more than anything is that Amik Robertson and Emmanuel Mosley, last time you saw either of them on the field, they actually put up better numbers last season than Cam Sutton and Carlton Davis did last year. That's context-free. And, of course, with Emmanuel Mosley, you definitely have to worry about injuries. I just think that there's 4 more than capable starters in this cornerback room. So if they stood pat in free agency, I would personally be okay with that.
Yeah, I would too. At the same time, I'm still a fan of bringing in Stephon Gilmore.
Fair enough.
I think if you look at a secondary, if you look at that cornerback room that has Stephon Gilmore, Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, Cam Sutton, Stephen Gilmore, Khalil Dorsey, that's a secondary I'm starting to mess with a lot. And I know it would have to be for the right price. We're not going to unload $15 million for Stephon Gilmore. But if you can get him in a one-year contract, maybe $10, $11 million, maybe less. Maybe he's willing to take less to come mentor his brother, Stephen Gilmore, who's one of the Lions' up-and-coming cornerbacks. I think it's a really good fit, and you can still address cornerback in the draft. They at least need to get one more cornerback for that room, whether it's free agency, draft, or both. I'm a big fan of going and getting Stephon Gilmore. And the last part about why I think that might be the route they take, because the receivers that a cornerback one, a future cornerback one, is going to have to cover here in Detroit. We're talking Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown. There's a whole plethora of star wide receivers. I don't know if you can find that guy at 29. Maybe Brad Holmes thinks he can, maybe he cannot. But talk about value at 29. Is that a cornerback, or do you try to get a cornerback, a Chris Abrams-Drain, a Max Melton, Dwight McGlothern later in the draft, second, third, fourth round? There's so much you can do at cornerback now that we've set this foundation. Again, I still wouldn't be opposed to bringing in Gilmore and just making it a nasty cornerback room.
Yeah, no, and for the record, I would love Gilmore as well, because he's obviously the one out of all the ones we've mentioned, out of all the ones that we've signed, that has accomplished the most. He's one time been a Defensive Player of the Year as a corner, and he had a damn good year last season playing the number 2 corner role. I would love it. I think his market value, according to SpotTrack, is $11 million per year. And for the record, they did free up some cap space by restructuring Carlton Davis's contract. I just think with bringing in Carlton Davis, Brad Holmes, as somebody who just has seen what he's done throughout his entire time here, probably feels that is enough and that Carlton Davis could potentially be the number 1 corner. That's why you gave up draft capital for him. And I didn't give any numbers to this, so I want to do this now. The reason why I mentioned Carlton Davis's numbers last year versus his 3 previous seasons are the 3 previous seasons he's given up a passer rating allowed of 79.2, 80.4, and 88.2 respectively. Last season looks to be a little bit of an aberration. So if he gives you that, particularly with his man coverage skills, he's certainly going to, I think, do a better job against the number 1 wide receivers than Cam Sutton did last year. Because when you look at their passer ratings allowed, when you compare the two in man coverage, Carlton Davis wipes the floor with Cam Sutton, but that's the point. That's the point. You don't want Cam Sutton on an island with those number one receivers. Even you, who is a bigger fan than I am, Broder, would admit that. That's not ideal.
100%. He was man. He's not a number one cornerback. He doesn't have the abilities to cover a 6'4", 220-pound wide receiver who runs a 4.3. He's not a big guy. He is tough. He's good at playing in zone. He's a good nickel. He's a good slot cornerback. Now you can put him there.
Yeah.
Now you can move Brian Branch around all the safety positions. You could even play Amik Robertson at safety. All of these guys are super versatile, and it's going to allow Aaron Glenn to find the right matchups, find the right schemes that match that entire defense. And again, let's not forget, they signed DJ Reader. So whoever is back there, this defense just got better.
Absolutely. And if you want maybe an early camp sleeper from me, if Amik Robertson's cornerback 2 going into the season, don't be surprised.
Hey.
I love what he did last year for the Raiders. He was, like I said, he had a better statistical season than both Carlton Davis and Cam Sutton did. Context-free, I understand, but one of his best games last year was on the road at Kansas City, and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City's last loss. And that's something that's going to make my eyebrows raise a bit. So this secondary, I think the Lions, they needed to get more in the cornerback room. They needed another starter, and they needed some depth. And I think they got it with pretty much everybody that they signed, including if Emmanuel Mosley is healthy.
Yes, and that's without committing long-term money or long-term years to any of them yet.
Yep.
So that's a bonus. It's going to be a competitive camp, just like Kool-Aid. It's competitive down in Lakeland right now.
Yeah, definitely. And just definitely, before we move on to that, I wanted to be able to just kind of back up your point there with Amik Robertson. You know, his comments talking about what he's been his first few years in this league. He said, you know what, I was rookie, I was learning. He said, but now I know exactly what to do. I can't wait to see these guys take the field, especially with the belief that Brad Holmes has in them. And it's not that he's batting 100, you know, Brad Holmes.
Sure.
But it's that most of the things he does has put the Lions in the position that we now see them in. And when you're taking kind of these chances on these guys that bring you a lot of, in my opinion, I believe you have a high ceiling for reward here. I can't wait to see what happens. And just talking about even the larger of the whole defensive backfield, I'm excited for what this means for Brian Branch too.
Yeah,
I really am. I really am.
Because they've got their starting safeties as well, and I'm appreciative of that. And just one more quick comment, because I want to shout out one of my fellow Woodward sports talents. I believe it was Easy on the heavyweights. It was either Easy or Spencer, so it was definitely one of those two. Brought up a good point. I think Amik Robertson is perfect to cover guys like DJ Moore and Jaden Reed.
Ooh,
those
love that.
Those not huge, those not small, but those just
not
fast,
tall.
fast, like twitchy kind of wide receivers. And Amik Robertson, as much as I like him, he is a smaller corner. But you're going to face Jaden Reed and DJ Moore 4 times a year for the foreseeable future. So I think that's the perfect corner to match up with guys like them.
Yeah, you know what, man, I feel really, really comfortable about what Brad Holmes is doing. And this Detroit Lions Super Bowl window, I want to be able to get into a little bit of Lakeland, a little bit of Detroit Tigers talk as well.
Hey.
You know what? What would it be? You know, our show represents three credentialed sports coverage writers and reporters right here. So, but first, I'm going to tell you guys how you can have an all-expenses suite, a trip of your dreams to the 2024 NCAA tournament. If you come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, for the award-winning haircut experience, it will register you to be able to attend. Obviously, they also have some part of it here in Detroit. I want to be able to see you guys at that as well. But that's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men is open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter. Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Get a shot up. This is for the win.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Hey, look, man, Planet Fitness wouldn't let me bring the pet lion or the pet golden grizzly, but I can definitely tell you guys where I go to get them the best. It's Premier Pet Supplies, hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices, all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They are family and locally owned for over 30-plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local curbside and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com. Welcome back. Thank you for kicking off your morning with the Wake Up Woodward crew. We are live at Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road in Inkster. And shout out to the GM as well, Kylie Brooke. You guys want to get down here. This facility is nice, man. The people are dope. It's pretty cool here, huh?
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. But look, we got to get into a little bit of Detroit Tigers talk. It was only appropriate. We're getting just that much closer as well. 9 days away for the season opener. And the home opener is 17 days away. I'm going to continue to plug this, you guys. We want to see you down at the Music City Hall tent party for Detroit Tigers opening day. It's going to be the biggest party in the city, the best way to enjoy opening day other than getting over to the game itself. And we will be broadcasting live. We're going to be having some giveaways as well, some passes to be able to get a few of our chat family into that party. It's going to be an epic day. But, Broder, spring training rosters are down to 40, man, which means 14 players still must be cut. We're getting that much closer to the start of regular season Detroit Tigers baseball. And there's a little bit of expectation, especially in the down year for the AL Central. How are you feeling about this thing as they approach this day by day now?
It is. I'm feeling great about it. But first, let me shout out Dante151. And
hey.
everyone, we're going to talk Tigers for 10, 12 minutes. Then we're going to get to an extended mailbag. So get your Lions questions in. Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, Oakland University, Detroit City FC. Any question you have, get him in the chat. But Dante151 says from the last segment, hey, Flannel Sam, I also like Amik Robertson on the Lions a lot. He did great against Jordan Love and the Packers this past season, especially getting the game-sealing interception on Monday Night Football. That was Amik Robertson when he was a member of the Raiders. Dante151, thanks so much for the $9.99 donation. Man, we appreciate you. Anything you want to say about that before we jump into Tigers, Flannel?
No, that's it. That's an excellent point, and further proof that especially doing it against Jordan Love, he's going to be seeing him a couple of times a year. So, yeah, I think that's further proof that Amik Robertson might end up being the most underrated signing of this offseason. I think he has a good chance to be cornerback, too. I really do.
Right. You kind of just, I'm going to manufacture this a little bit, actually. But you see, like, the Kenta Maeda of the Detroit Tigers coming in, maybe being the number 2, number 3.
There.
No, Maeda's a little bit older. But like Kool-Aid introduced, this roster's down to 40. There's about a week left of spring training games. So a lot of the final decisions for this opening day big league roster are happening now. Today we're going to talk about the pitching staff a little bit, the final roster spots as the starters, final roster spots out of the bullpen. Tomorrow we're going to finish up talking about the hitters, and then we'll continue moving on through our preview of the Detroit Tigers. But Flannel, Kool-Aid, JB, KG, we know what the top 3 starters in this rotation are going to be. We got Tarek Skubal coming from the left side, right-hander Jack Flaherty, right-hander Kenta Maeda. There are 3 starting pitchers fighting for the last 2 roster spots. And again, A.J. Hinch has already committed. They're not going with a 6-rotation pitching staff. So for the new baseball fans in there are usually 5 pitchers on a starting rotation. You pitch once every 5 days or every 5 games. There are 6 guys competing for these 5 spots. The last 3 for the last 2, Casey Mize, a right-handed pitcher. We got Reese Olson, a right-handed pitcher, and Matt Manning, a right-handed pitcher. So we're looking at I don't even want to say they're veterans. These are all 3 still relatively young pitchers fighting for that last spot. All 3 do a little bit different. And Flannel, I'm going to start it over with you. Do you have any horse that you're riding to take these last 2 spots? Or who do you think is going to be – I know that came out wrong again. Or who do you think might start the season in AAA out of those 3, Manning, Mize, and Reese Olson?
God, I hate to do it because they've all shown – they've shown a lot during their careers, or at least enough to be at worst a 5th starter on a team, and they've all had fairly good spring trainings. It's got to be Reese Olson, though. I mean, Casey Mize, he at one point was your franchise. He is the #1 overall pick. He's the guy that, besides for Tarek Skubal, probably has the best stuff out of any Tigers pitcher, maybe even #1, as our good friend Spenmo Rex and yourself, Matt Broder, always point out. He has a hell of a splitter when he is on. And with Reese Olson, I see him being a long reliever. That's probably going to be his niche in Major League Baseball. And also he's there just in case somebody gets hurt, which I don't know about you guys. As much as I would love to live in La La Land, it's been a concern with Tarek Skubal, Matt Manning, and Casey Mize over the years. So having Reese Olson as your long reliever, and then having Casey Mize and Matt Manning, those 2 out of the 3 being in your starting rotation, that is what I want. Those 2 have the higher upsides, and I think the upside of this Tigers pitching staff, especially if these young guys can stay healthy and be even an approximation of what we thought that they could be, it's got a very, very high upside. Certainly best in the AL Central.
Without a doubt. And I'm with you, too. I think it's going to be Reese Olson who starts the season in AAA, not because he hasn't performed well this spring training. These 3 pitchers have arguably been 3 of the best performers for the Tigers all spring training, but Matt Manning has pitched great. His velocity has gone up. We've seen Casey Mize work on some of his other off-speed pitches. That splitter, although we haven't seen his best splitter yet this spring training, that's the pitch that sort of led to his elbow injuries. He's tweaked his mechanics with Chris Fetter. He has arguably, like Sam said, the most upside on this staff right there alongside Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
He was a former #1 overall pick in 2018. We just haven't seen him in 2 years because of this arm injury. But what A.J. Hinch has seen out of Reese Olson, he loves. He's seen this kid get out of jams. He's not the sexy name. He's not the Mize or the Manning or the Skubal, but he's someone that he trusts. I like the idea that you had about making him a long reliever. I imagine at some point when one of these starters gets injured or has to miss some time, hopefully not extended period of time, Reese Olson is that first call-up, even if it's early on, to then come fill in the bullpen as well.
No, I mean, he has to be because, and I've said this a lot about last year's Tigers, they had a lot of bad luck when it comes to injuries, when it comes to guys who are your cornerstone pieces, like Riley Green, like even Kerry Carpenter and Skubal and Mize and Matt Manning, and they were still able to have a successful season by their standards, winning 78 games. And Reese Olson was one of those guys that you won games because he stepped up, and when they needed him to start, he performed admirably, very, very, very well. I mean, he had more starts last season than Matt Manning and Tarek Skubal. So
and Flannel down the stretch of last season, he had a 1.51 ERA and struck out a batter per inning in his final 6 starts of the season last year. So he was really clicking at the end, like you're saying.
That's a great man. Tarek Skubal, September Tarek Skubal and Reese Olson. Can we get a Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling right there?
Let's go.
Right. Hey. That's basically what they were for 1 month. Tarek Skubal and Reese Olson took the baseball world by storm. Tarek Skubal was the best pitcher on planet Earth in September last year. You cannot tell me otherwise.
How confident are you that this pitching staff can see the Detroit Tigers to the top of the AL Central this year?
I'm confident, and I think the only thing is health. That's it. because they certainly have it. And even
that's a big vote of confidence, bro.
It's true.
It is true. and Broder, you bring it up at the beginning, and you were very high on this signing, as am I. Kenta Maeda is just that veteran, consistent pitcher. I think he has over 150 starts in his career and has a career ERA of less than 4. He's never going to be a star, but as your third or fourth veteran pitcher who never really, I don't believe he's had much injury concern throughout his career or injury problems. That's going to be a guy that you win games because of as well, especially if any of the young guys struggle with injuries. I think Kenta Maeda is going to be that steady Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Like that every pitching staff needs.
Dante151, I see an announcement we're going to have to make here in 1 minute. But you're right, Kenta Maeda. And even looking off the field, he has been healthy. He's a veteran pitcher. He's not going to eat up too many innings. But what you're going to see, he's had, and over his career, especially in the last 5-6 years, one of the best split-finger fastballs in baseball. That's what Casey Mize needs to learn how not only to develop. It was his best pitch. It was his nastiest pitch, but the way he was throwing it was causing arm issues. That's what led to his surgery. So Kenta Maeda can at least help him with that, help this young staff, this young team continue to develop. And I think a lot of the success of this team will fall in the bullpen too. Yes. We love this starting rotation, Flannel, but in the bullpen, there's another 2 spots that that 3 or 4 pitchers are fighting for. I put Joey Wentz, a left-handed pitcher, Bo Brisky, right-handed pitcher, and Alex Faedo, three relief pitchers competing for the last 2 spots in the bullpen. You could throw in Miguel Diaz. You could throw in Drew Anderson. Sawyer Gibson-Long's likely starting down in maybe AA, AAA. But of those 3, Joey Wentz, Bo Brisky, Alex Faedo, are there any one of those that you see not making the opening day roster?
They've all had really good spring trainings.
Right? It's hard.
I mean, these are guys that you thought could be starters in this league, particularly Alex Faedo, although when he had his chance, he didn't look so good. Man. If I had to choose who the odd man out is, I would probably say Joey Wentz. But, again, it's kind of like Reese Olson. They've had spring trainings where they pitched well enough to be on the roster. It's just when you have, which the Tigers did last year and I think will again this year, a good bullpen, not everybody's going to get a chance to make it. And when you're talking about pitchers, if you have to go down to AAA, especially if you're a guy who's pitched in the big leagues before, there's always going to be somebody who, gets nicked up during the season, has to go on the injured list, even if it's for 10 days or even longer. So whoever doesn't make it, I think, is still going to play a role in the Tigers' season this year.
Absolutely. It might come down to Joey Wentz being left-handed as the reason he gets the call-up. And his ability to fill in should a starter get beat up in the first or second inning, he can come in. I'm with you. I think he's probably the odd man out in terms of being the most talented of the 3, but I am a little biased towards left-handed pitchers, although it is something that you need the balance of left-handed and right-handed pitchers. And we're saying these are the last roster spots on the bullpen. The back end of their bullpen is set. We got Alex Lange. We got Jason Foley, Shelby Miller, Will Vest. That's fine. Now we're just looking at those depth pieces to help this team carry them through a really long summer. 162 games. Baseball season's a long one. You need as many pitchers as you can.
And for the record, why has Shelby Miller fallen so much under the radar? That was a hell of a signing, a guy who's been a starter in this league at one point in his career.
Hell of a signing.
And he had a great season last year for the Dodgers, a 1.71 ERA and 36 appearances, 3-0 record. I feel like that one is kind of just flown under the radar, but this Tigers bullpen should be good again this year.
Without a doubt. And Kool-Aid,
yes, sir.
We're wrapping up here. We've been talking about it leading up to this point. If they are in contention, adding a bullpen piece to continue to keep the pressure off of these young hitters who are going to have a slump. They're going to go through stretches where they can't hit the ball or score runs. If you can shrink that game with your bullpen, make it a 5-6 inning game, and you got 3 guys who can shut the door, that's a strategy I like with a young team on offense.
That's a strategy we've seen the Detroit Tigers in the past win with as well. We've seen them kind of a long time ago with some pictures of Tigers lore, be able to kind of have their development come along a little bit slower because of the help that they had in the bullpen. The Detroit Tigers, when they've been at their best, is because they've had, whether it's a little shaky at times, they've had those closers that can absolutely shut the door. You guys got me stupendously ecstatic about this Detroit Tigers. Stupendous. I'm ecstatic about what the Detroit Tigers can be this year, and a lot of it has to do with AJ Hinch. You're talking about a manager who's won the big thing. You're talking about a front office now, Jeff Greenberg, Chris Harris. I'm excited about this. It's Scott Harris, I'm sorry, because you're talking about what these guys can do to get the most out of the little. Yeah. That's what I absolutely love. The numbers, the analytics, and putting these guys in the right position to be able to overcome. Because you're right, man. If I expect a lot of these young hitters to go through their slumps. It's a very, very long season. But the pitching, if it gets hot, it's almost like a goalie standing on his head. It can carry the team a long way.
Hey.
It can.
Yep, and that's what I've always loved the most about Scott Harris. It's clear that he values analytics and kind of that Moneyball, get-on-base type of stuff. Yeah. And I know for a fact that Al Avila did not give a damn about that and thought it was all nonsense. That's why you signed Javier Baez, who's probably the
your favorite player.
A Moneyball guy's worst nightmare. A guy who doesn't get on base, even when he was good. But anywho, I'm not bitter. Tigers, very excited about watching them this year.
Let's go. Steve Yzerman's making moves that can excite the Red Wings, hopefully light a spark under this team for the rest of the year. It looks like I'm breaking this to you guys, too, from the faces I see. The Detroit Red Wings have called up Simon Edvinsson, defenseman Simon Edvinsson from the Grand Rapids Griffins. Ooh. I haven't read into it quite yet when he's making his debut. If it's tonight, I know the Red Wings play tonight against the Blue Jackets, so we'll see. But Simon Edvinsson, this is one of the future pieces of this team.
You've called for this.
We have, Kool-Aid. I want to hear, not to overpass you, I want to hear Stan Flannels. Just first reaction, Simon Edvinsson called up to the big leagues of the NHL.
It had to happen at this point because their defense, it's been poor. When you look at the totality of their season, their defense has actually been worse this year than it was last year. And Simon Edvinsson, I mean, he's your future, but also right now, and I'm not trying to be like mean or anything, but I'm kind of tired of watching Jeff Petrie and Oli Mata get cooked. And of course, the Justin Holl signing did not work out. He doesn't even play anymore. So at this point, even Ben Sherratt, he just is who he is. And Ghost, he's more of an offensive defenseman. So you need more defensive help to maybe right the ship, because when the Red Wings were humming, and I know they're not humming right now, but even with their offensive upside, whether Larkin is there or not, if you're the Red Wings and you can hold a team to 3 goals, you have a great chance of winning. And I think that Simon Edvinsson, even this version of Simon Edvinsson, whether he's ready for the big stage or not, is better than what they had before.
I'm hoping that Simon Edvinsson has enough to overpower the mojo, the bad mojo that priority patch has brought to the Detroit Red Wings, man.
Got to win these next 2. Have to win these next 2.
Yeah, how are you feeling about that?
The
next 2 games.
The next 2 games, you got to have them. Tonight you play Columbus, who's a losing team. Got to win that game, no excuse. But I'm not going to make any guarantees because you saw what happened when Phoenix came in. But and the Islanders, you're fighting for playoff positioning with them, so you have to win these games. And that's why I said before, they got to win tonight, they got to win against the Islanders, and then they got to go to Washington after they play Nashville and beat them, because if you don't beat the Islanders and Washington, it's basically like a 4-point game in the wrong way. And Washington has not only gotten close to you, they have surpassed you. So got to win these games. When you tailspin like you have, you don't have much of a margin for error anymore. You just don't. We all know it's true.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to get into this next segment as well with the mailbag. You guys, get your mailbag questions in the chat. Get them in the chat now. We want to be able to answer anything that you've heard today, anything you disagree with, anything that you guys want to be able to have some discourse about. Get it into the chat right now. We are live from Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road and Inkster. Well, who we have to hear from?
Feldman, yes. Hey, we were there yesterday. Shout out to our wonderful sponsors. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you. Catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Monday.
Oh, all shows. We're doing it right now. Woodward Sports has all your Detroit sports coverage all day long. Right after Wake Up Woodward from 11 to 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching Red Wings legend Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule on Big D Energy. And then University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards joins Ryan Armani and Maz for Armani and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and finish your day with the big fellas. Spencer Raxter and Easy bring you Woodward heavyweights every night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here on Woodward Sports. Woodward Sports is Detroit's #1 sports network all day long on air and on social media.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper,
tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Get a shot up. This is for the win.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Ah, man, was I excited when I heard that Shake Shack was joining us at Woodward Sports. And, hey, they even gave us some food on air, which that is the best endorsement I can possibly give. They gave us a chicken sandwich, fries, and cookies and cream shake. It is some of the best food in Metro Detroit. I absolutely love it. They got locations all over, including one kind of near my house, which is kind of dangerous for me because I'm sure I will be there all of the time. But you guys should all get to Shake Shack. I got crinkle cut fries, burgers, chicken sandwiches, shakes, fountain drinks, all of that. Good atmosphere. You can dine in, you can carry out, have dinner with your family, just a little midnight, like not midnight, but a little late night snack if you want. Shake Shack pretty much has it all. So go to their website or visit any of their Metro Detroit locations.
Also join Woodward Sports as we party live from downtown Detroit for the Tigers home opener. We'll be broadcasting starting at 8 a.m. from Grand Slam Fest, the biggest party in Detroit with over 4,000 party people. Win your tickets now. Like the stream and comment Grand Slam Fest. We will select one winner to come to Opening Day Fest April 5th at the Detroit Opera House parking lot, or buy your tickets at grandslamfest.com.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all, chat family, for starting your day off with the crew. We got the whole starting five here. Mr. Matt Broder, Flannel Sam, Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG. We got JB Smooth, Woodward Sports' MVP, and it's your boy Brandon Dan, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. And look, we had the merch Monday giveaway. It's time to announce that winner. I gotta tell you guys, stay active on our YouTube, but definitely tap into the social media. We're going to be having some giveaways. Tomorrow we're giving away one of the hashtag LFGRW shirts, as well as a signed Darren McCarty hockey puck. But first, we got to announce the winner of the Brad Holmes Guy T-shirt from the Woodward Sports Shop. Hey, I think we're all Brad Holmes guys. Yep. You guys all do great work.
That was a slanderous statement about a week ago from like 60% of Lions Twitter.
But, hey, Shout out to @Stephen J. Blitz. Steve Blitz, @Stephen J. Blitz. You are the recipient. You are the winner of the Brad Holmes Guy T-shirt. And we're going to be having more giveaways as well. We're going to be trying to get another chat giveaway this Friday. What did we give away last Friday? It was a Holmes Cooked Meal T-shirt. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that. And there's a lot more giveaways throughout the day here at Planet Fitness in Redford as well. So you guys stay tapped into the other shows. Big D Energy, Armani and Edwards with Maz broadcasting live from here. And definitely tap in later with the heavyweights too. And chat family, if you already have, hit that like button. Thank you. And if you haven't, what are you doing? Go on ahead and get that like button smashed. But let's get into the mailbag. We got to go to the people. Have you seen anything of interest?
Yo, I got you. Steve DeYoung, mailbag. With all the talk about drafting wide receivers in the first round, I still believe that we need to draft pass rush or interior defensive line in the first round. He says Darius Robinson or Chop Robinson. What do you guys think about that strategy and any players that stick out?
I don't hate it at all. As all I got to do is just every time, just chop. I love me some Chop Robinson. If he's the pick at 29, I would be jumping for joy. I understand Marcus Davenport and James Houston. If you combine those two, especially if Marcus Davenport is playing near his best, that's pretty damn good help on the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But can you ever have too many pass rushers?
Nope.
No, you cannot. And Chop Robinson, I believe, is one of the best ones in the draft. So give me Chop at 29, and I will be happy.
Let's
KG,
go.
I know
Let's
you like
go.
that.
Let's go.
He does. He does. I'm a Darius Robinson fan, too. By the way, shout out Ben Harmon. Welcome to the Woodward crew. Thank you for subscribing and becoming a member. Flannel, I'm coming right back to you. Eduardo O'Neill says, Flannel, mailbag, how is Sam doing this morning, and how far will Michigan State go in the tourney?
I'm great. Michigan State loses to Mississippi State on Thursday afternoon. They're not good. Michigan State is not good. I'm upset, actually, and maybe this is my personal vendetta. Why did Indiana not even get an iota of consideration, but Michigan State got a 9 seed, and they have pretty much identical resumes? I get it. Michigan State has that win against Baylor, and Indiana State, which their fans all fawn over, even though they're not a
You know
tournament
why? Because January, February, Izzo, right? That's a thing, or no?
Well, we'll see. And Griffin Lackey, of course. I'll whoop your ass, Sam. Yeah, he's one of our esteemed salesmen, and he probably could. He's a pretty big dude. But
shout out to Griff.
But
here's a mailbag question. They want to know, will you guys be downtown for the NFL draft, for the draft in late April here in Detroit, Michigan? Of course we're going to be down there. Of course we are. We cannot wait. And we're trying to figure out the best way to sneak Broder on the stage so he can announce one of the Lions draft picks. That's what we have. We gotta make this thing happen, man.
I will be there at the draft day one covering it with the media. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast down there. We can't announce the location yet, but it's just about officially locked down. We'll be announcing that shortly, maybe next week.
Definitely. Let's see. Mailbag, if Brad gets Gibbs or even Campbell-like production out of 3 rookies this year, are we the favorites to win the NFC, perhaps the Super Bowl? That's from Big Con 51.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so basically that would mean that all of the 29th, the
Pro Bowl rookies.
Yeah, like the 20. You'd assume that the 29th, the 61st, and the 73rd overall pick would range from being Pro Bowlers to solid starters. Yes, 100%. Yes, they'd be the NFC. I mean, they were 30 minutes away from an NFC championship. And if they can improve, given all of the free agency moves that they've already done, if they hit another draft class out of the park, absolutely Lions favorites to win the NFC.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that question, I was like, yes. Of course. What about you, brother?
Oh, yeah. They should be favorites anyway already.
Yeah.
And I mean, not talking to Mike Greenberg, just in general, this team is one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah,
in the entire league, the NFL, the National
Stand
Football
on
League.
business. I like that, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. We've been talking about it. Like this Detroit Lions team, it's a different team, different organization, and they're continuing to prove it. I'm so glad that they're not just resting on their laurels. I'm so glad that they're not going out there and making like reacting to what fans would want. Yeah, they're going out there and they're just saying, you know what, we have our elite groups. We want to make sure those groups stay that way, and we know exactly what we have to improve. And they went out there and they did it. I keep thinking about the things they could have done at the trade deadline versus what I'm seeing right now, and I couldn't be more ecstatic about what Brad Holmes is doing and that he's at the helm of the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely.
Z Digital, it's not a question, but A good comment I see in here. A good idea maybe to add to the merch store as Stick is walking around here. You also switch that up to a Brad Campbell guy. Combine the two names, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell.
Brad Campbell guy. I like that.
Clever.
I find myself often saying Brad Campbell, and you know what? I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all, man. And shout out to Stick as well, rocking the Woodward shop merch. He has the Jaden Ivey hoodie on. We're going to have to find a way to get him the Cade Cunningham hoodie next.
How about this, Cordell Walker, mailbag. What's the price you'd be willing to pay to trade up?
Ooh.
Like, let's
for
hypothetical trade up to go get Dallas Turner or maybe Latu. Also, check out Stick's sick merch up there on the middle screen.
Jaden Ivey, best player on the Pistons.
How do we get him a Cade Cunningham
nonsense.
one? Let's get him the Cade. Let's get him the Cade Crusaders shirt.
That's a great one too.
We gotta get you that one. Shout out Nick Leach.
How much would you be willing to? What would it cost to move up?
And what are you getting if you move up? Who's worth that for you?
I don't know if anybody is at this point. and I know that sounds.
No, you're right.
It's because of what they did in free agency. I would have maybe said Jackson Powers Johnson, for example. And I would love to have him, but I'm also not desperate to go move up because what they did with Kevin Zeitler. I think they could snag a guard in a later round that is maybe not as good, but with sitting, playing the bench for a year or so, we'll be fine in the future.
Yeah, I think there's few guys that you want to spend draft capital to move up and get. With the way this first round might turn out, with the run on quarterbacks, does Bo Nix, does Michael Penix, do they go in the first round, or will there just be 4 going? How much does some of those skilled players, how much does some of the top defensive linemen, do they fall? Is Chop Robinson and Darius Robinson going to be available? There's so many scenarios that could play out. I'd almost wait to see what falls to 20, and then you're trading up. Your price to trade up isn't going to be so expensive. Yeah. And with what they've done in free agency, like you said, Brad Holmes has all the leverage. He doesn't have to make a move.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was going to ask, so Brad Holmes has turned this year's draft into his personal kind of sandbox, his personal playground.
Yeah, exactly.
You just go out there and do what he wants. You know what? We'll answer one more mailbag before we break it down here. With all the talk about drafting wide receivers in the first round, I still believe that we need to draft pass rush or interior defensive line in the first round. Darius Robinson or Chop from Steve DeYoung. I know you already.
Yes.
You already want the Chop.
All good with that.
Hey.
Yeah. Chop. Maybe Jerzon Newton falls. Yeah. That's a nice addition. That pick all depends on how much they still believe in Broderick Martin, but he's projected to go middle to the top of the first round. So if he falls to 29, it'd be hard not to pass him. This is why you take best player available. This is what he set himself up for. He could if he wanted to.
Yeah, Jerzon Newton, just with where he's projected, if he falls to 29, in theory, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Is that a show, guys?
That's it. Shout out Cy Gray.
That's a show, man.
Shout out Cy Gray real quick. Welcome to the Woodward crew. Thanks so much.
Hey, dope, man. You know what? The Chat family, I'm going to do this for Mr. Eduardo O'Neill. The Chat family has been absolutely on one today. You guys, thank you for being here and kicking off your day with Wake Up Woodward. We hope that you continue to check out some of the other shows as well. Armani Edwards with Maz and Big D Energy, which is next. Broadcasting live from Planet Fitness in Redford on Plymouth Road and Inkster. Shout out to Kylie Brook as well, the general manager here at Planet Fitness. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility out here, man. Beautiful people that are working and holding it down out here as well. We've enjoyed our morning here.
Oh, yeah. Great morning.
Yeah.
Great to be here with you guys, starting 5.
And Kool-Aid, let me tell the people before we go.
Yes, sir.
Planet Fitness Black Card sale where you can sign up as a Planet Fitness Black Card member for just $1 down. It ends this Thursday, March 21st. And then at 12 p.m. today, we're doing a contest with Neil Rule and the Big D Energy team to win college basketball Midwest Regional tickets at Little Caesars Arena. I believe that's the Elite 8. I don't know. They're going to be giving tickets away. So tune in to Big D Energy coming up at 11.
Definitely tune. I want to see you guys down there. I know Maz, Braylon, and myself, we are credentialed for the games that will be here in Detroit for March Madness. And we saw the president, Neil Rule. He walked in here just a few moments ago. I know he's getting that workout in at Planet Fitness before Big D Energy. But for our elite booth, I wish you guys could see them today, but I know we'll be back in studio tomorrow, and we'll have the crew, the back wall, and everything going. Detroit's #1 draft pick. Hey, there we go. Mr. KG. We got him here in spirit. And we also got Woodward Sports' MVP, Mr. JB Smooth. We got Mr. Flannel Sam, our vet on this starting five here, man. He continues. And you know what? I know we got 3 credentials on here. This guy knows Red Wings. We're going to have to figure something out. We got all 4 sports covered here, man.
He's smarter than me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Flannel is smarter than me, probably way more studied than me as well. Yeah, definitely. Hey, you know what? You already know what it is, man. I'll play point guard up here. We also got Mr. Matthew Broder, our Detroit Lions and Detroit Tigers credential beat writer and reporter. Any last words for the people?
And Black Card member.
And Planet Fitness Black Card member, yeah. And soon he'll be a barbecue invitee as well. We're gonna get you out there, man.
Working my way to the barbecue.
Let's go. Hey, this is your boy Brandon, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, credential Detroit Pistons beat writer and reporter for Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tapping in. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the way out. And if you haven't, man, hey, get to a Planet Fitness, definitely, where your fitness is essential. Definitely. What up, though, people? It's been Wake Up Woodward.